What is it that makes a man strong in today's world? Is it power? Is it success? Is it fame? Is it money? What is it that truly defines just core masculine qualities inside of a human being, inside of a man in today's world? I think we find ourselves at the precipice of a point where we now have masculinity and femininity as these constructs that have been started to become disintegrated. We now have the stripping away of traditional gender roles. And although some of this is extremely positive, some of it also kind of includes just a confusion around identity as well. I think that women have done an incredible job of establishing their identity through the feminist movement in today's world, and that needs to be honored and acknowledged. And I think that men have not done as well of a job of really understanding who they are in today's world. And I also think there's a lot of guilt that men may also experience or confusion around, like this idea of patriarchy and being a man and what that means. And so I think that something that could be very helpful is just even defining some core qualities that men can exhibit. And as we talk about these qualities as well, essentially what I've done is sort of pulled from archetypal themes. So an archetype is essentially like a blueprint that exists inside of the human psyche. It's kind of like a code that every single human being has in some shape or form. And so these archetypes exist at some of the deepest layers of the mind, and they can be found through myths and stories, and through just seeing how different people embody certain energies that exist inside of them. And so in an attempt to establish just some healthy ideas of what masculinity may be, I went ahead and found 4 themes that I think really do embody a healthy masculinity. And as we go through these as well, I want to also acknowledge that if this doesn't fit for you, that's okay. That, I think that every single human, every single man has the complete right to define for themselves what masculinity truly means. But these are just 4 examples that I think every man could embody that would really help with themselves and also those around them. So the first one of these words is integrity. Integrity is a word that means wholeness or completeness. It comes from the Latin integer, right? Meaning a whole number. So that means that it's indivisible in some shape or form. Integer being a part of something, having a completeness to it. And so essentially what this means is living within your principles. I think that it is being consistent and trustworthy when it really matters. I think that at the core, it means telling the truth, being able to handle conflict, even when what we say may be difficult to others, being able to have those difficult conversations and really to just be honest and open about how we're feeling and what the situation calls for moving forward. The knights of old and the codes of chivalry, they would swear upon telling the truth even if it meant their death. Now, although that's taken this concept to an extreme, there is a little bit of integrity even of that, of there is this understanding that in today's world it has been something, especially in our political systems and just even life in general, has become somewhat common. And I think that it's important that we focus on just understanding that healthy masculinity does involve telling the truth and being honest about who we are and about others in our lives with us. So another key concept is this idea of compassion. So compassion is a word, when broken down, comes from the Latin compassio. And if you break that down even further, it comes to cum and passion. So cum meaning with and passion meaning the pain. So being with the suffering of other people. I really do think that true masculinity involves living from the heart and not only from the head. Compassion means being with those that are suffering and taking time to listen and be empathetic with other people and developing these qualities of the heart. And I think that true power does come from this place, not from fame, not from success. I think there are many stories of people who reach fame and success and money and power, and they kind of hit this dead end and they realized that what they were searching for was actually inside of themselves this whole time. And I think that compassion is sort of like this inner flame that warms those around us that we care about. It really does mean living from the heart. And I think that there's that strength from embracing just some of those deeper relationships. Compassion being with the pain of other people, being able to stand up for other people, being able to care for others. I think that that's where true strength really comes from. And then we also have this idea of purpose. So leading a purpose-driven life. And I think that this is extremely important for men and for women, of course, but I think that as men, we orient ourselves around how we function in the world, who we are in relation to the world. I think that our meaning comes from the work that we do, and just knowing our why and essentially working towards something. I think that there's a paradox to this, that obviously, it's to live in the present moment and to be here fully. And at the same time, some of the meaning making comes in being able to withstand the suffering that is in the present moment, knowing that maybe in the future we could get to somewhere else. This could be with investing, of, continuously putting money aside, even though it may suck in the short term, you don't get to buy those shoes or whatever it is right away. But in the future, maybe you get to buy a house or put an investment down into something. So essentially having some sense of purpose means that there is some kind of anchor in the future, or there is some kind of North Star that one's life is oriented towards. And usually the sense of purpose is most likely in benefit to the individual, but also in benefit to the community as well. Being of service to oneself and those around them, not just in service of oneself, but really being able to embody being of purpose to those around them as well. And then we also have the fourth quality here, which is authenticity. And so with this idea of authenticity, I really do think that this essentially means embracing the true self, really embracing who we are at our core, being able to own the expression of our uniqueness in today's world. And so that's why I think it's even important within these qualities that, although these are maybe archetypal and that they can be embodied in each person, that we can do so with our own expression in and of the world around us. Not in a religious sense, but even just this idea of like embodying Christhood or embodying Buddhahood doesn't mean we need to emulate these great masters' lives. It means that we can embody who we are with that blueprint in mind, right? Same thing with this idea of authenticity, of we get to be who we are in the world and show up as who we are. And ultimately, at the deepest parts of ourselves, we are love. And so really being able to embody that, I think that in and of itself is what true authenticity is. And so each one of these patterns, we have integrity, we have compassion, we have purpose, and then we have authenticity as well. They can also be related to the 4 archetypes of manhood as written in King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. So the idea of integrity is that king archetype, being able to really embody and speak truth to those around us. The second one, compassion, being the lover archetype, being able to connect with others in an emotional and a sensual way, being able to empathize with other people and truly put ourselves in another person's shoes is an incredible skill to have. And then we also have the idea of purpose, the warrior energy, being able to cut bonds, clear things out, get clear about things, and take on suffering to move in a positive direction. And then the fourth one being authenticity, the magician archetype, just being able to who we are, being able to conjure ourselves in the world and really express the divine energies that exist inside of each and every one of us. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, it would help this video to get into the algorithm. And if you're on Spotify, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review, that would be incredible. If you're looking to work with somebody one-on-one, I am currently taking on clients, so feel free to click the link in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.